Hello, all you fifth Sith Lords, Darths, Acolytes, and Apprentices. Welcome to my live chat about random topics and other things called Chat, Chat, Chat. I'm your Dark Lord and Sith, Cyrathus, aka the Empire's Wrath. Yes, this is a live chat session or pre recorded session, depending on what you're looking at. If you want to add to the chat, just type anything in a chat message and it'll appear right over there on the screen for as long as it can. I will try to answer your questions as soon as I see them. This is an AMA always. Try to keep the politics and religion to a minimum, um, and always treat each other with respect. Now, coming back into focus here, um, we're going to talk a little bit about the Phantom Menace, but before that, we're also going to get into American football or the NFL, whichever one you want to call it. We're going to do some talking about that because as a Sith Lord, it is our responsibility to know a lot of stuff, even if it pertains to sports, entertainment, news, whatever. The Sith knowledge is endless. We discuss and look into things because it is our job to know, to understand, and to get more power through knowledge. At least that's my understanding about the Sith philosophy. Now, before we get into football and the Phantom Menace, a review of the Phantom Menace, or discussion about the Phantom Menace and what have you, we're going to start with this episode being sponsored by me. I fund the whole channel. This is all me buying equipment, rearranging the web pages, uploading to social media websites, updating the YouTube page, or updating the YouTube videos, etc., doing the comments, everything. This is all me behind. There's no other assistance. As you can tell, the editing sucks and the lighting is terrible. And yeah, so it's straight me funding, which is what I wanted to do. I mean, it would be nice to get an income, but you know, I can do what I got. One more I guess grassroots organization, I guess what you could say, is being locally funded by myself. So the microphone's mine, the camera's mine, the set's mine. Everything is all sponsored and paid for by me. The artwork was designed by a artist, or I don't know if I say an artist, designed this and made this for me. So, anyways, no, that's beside the point. I'm getting lost in topic here, but yeah, no, most of the stuff is basically sponsored by me and designed by somebody else. And yeah, anyways, back to it with talking points. Now, I know I mentioned the NFL and football, and you're like, well, why is a gaming person talking about football and stuff like that? And it's not like it. I'm like, well, football has been kind of a passion for me. I've never played the sport, but it's been more recently a passion for me because my friends used to watch that stuff on Sundays, and it became kind of a tradition for the past few years to watch the Super Bowl, etc., watch sports in general. And football has this kind of American football has this kind of appeal to Americans with the violence, the hitting, and yeah, it is a dangerous sport, and there's a lot of controversies on protection of the head, how young can kids play football without it dealing any issues to the brain, etc. And we like to discuss that stuff later on in other channels and so forth. But as a Sith Lord, is my duty to understand the world around me. Granted, living in the United States as such, we just explore whatever I explore whatever I feel is necessary to learn knowledge, history, sports, etc. I can go on and on about all the things that I like to study on. I'm not really professional or anything like that. I'm probably like a really bad Renaissance person when it comes to knowing stuff. But I like to explore my knowledge base. I like to learn things, and that's why these streams are kind of fun. Because sometimes people bring in trivia and say, "Hey, do you know about this?" or "Hey, did you hear about that?" So it's like I like knowledge sharing. Really, the more you know about something, the more people share information, and if we can, get the right information out there, the better things, good things can come of it. Now, we're not going to talk about Twitter and Facebook and all those organizations that allow this kind of stuff to go on, but there's no fact checking or there's minimum fact checking, and it saddens me, but at the same time, that's what the whole point of the internet was, is to get information out there. Is a double-edged sword. The internet can give you good stuff and it can give you bad stuff. And I'm not saying my stuff is great or right or better or anything like that, but if we can share knowledge through other, to other Sith or Darfs or whatever out there in the galaxy, give them information, maybe we can grow as an empire and become even more stronger. Um, but obviously, I'm not going to give away everything because that's not the Sith philosophy. You learn slowly, apprentice, acolyte. You eventually build up your knowledge base, but I won't give away everything because why would I do that? I'd lose my power. So only a little bit, and for right now, we're just going to move on to talking about American football again because we kind of got off topic there. But so American football is very popular over in the States, and we like to discuss there's a lot of shows and everything about football and the weekends. Sunday is basically a religious holiday for most people, for afternoon to watch any kind of football that's available. You got your teams, your jerseys, etc. There's a ton of stuff about football that people like to people just like to talk about football. It's Monday morning, that's all people talk about is football. um some people can stay up late and watch that stuff. I can't. I wake up at like 6 in the morning. I can't watch this stuff. I can't watch the late night games. I watch the mid afternoon games. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff right there. I was also say this stream is also sponsored by water. In that I drink a lot of it, at least 64 ounces a day, maybe more. So much so that every once in a while in the middle of the night I have to go to the restroom. But anyways, should be free for everybody, but gotta charge somebody something. Anyways, we're gonna get back to football here, and I'm just pulling up my phone so I can see what the games are going on this weekend. Starting tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. That's Central Standard Time. Getting out of focus again. Not sure why. It's probably because I move my head down and stuff like that, and camera can't decide what to focus on here. Move over this way, I guess. Move a little bit to the little over this way. All right. I'm so not used to facing the camera while talking. Usually I'm facing this way and streaming this, and talking now this way is a little bit more difficult because I'm not used to it. But anyways, so you can adjust the camera, you idiot. Well, yeah, but then if I adjust the camera, then I have to adjust it back the other way. And the camera looks better when I'm, over on this side streaming versus, right in front and center of it like this. And this is just going to be me awkwardly leaning on my desk over here. Anyways, so tomorrow's game at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time is between the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Seahawks are obviously the lower ranked team. I believe the San Francisco 49ers have won the NFC West division this year, with a quarterback that went to Iowa State University called Mr. Irrelevant, who is a third string quarterback and I don't think he lost a single game since he started, which is crazy for a team to play a third string quarterback and remain undefeated during his last few games of the season. Yeah. In fact, the last time that the Niners lost was actually week 7, was it? Yeah, week 7. That's a long time ago. They were on a losing streak for a while. They weren't doing so well. And then week 7, they just haven't lost a game since week 7. So think about that when you're, playing a team like this, when you're Seattle, who barely made it into the playoffs. If it wasn't for the Rams sucking it against them the last week of regular season, which was last weekend, and Green Bay dropping the ball horribly against the Detroit Lions, which, they should have won that game, but I don't know. Rodgers is just be on his way out. He's just he's been a big disappointment for a lot of fans over the years. Um, I I don't know if anybody out there really wants to get into drama about the off season stuff, but you know it's not, he's not really into it anymore. Maybe, I don't know. It's just like he should have won this last season, But I think a lot of people say, well, good thing Rodgers out because then he won't blow it in the playoffs again. Rodgers has been pretty bad at giving up the last game of the season, or not the only the playoffs. He sucks in the playoffs. He hasn't been good in years, and every time he gets the wins the the best team in the NFC, he can't win. He can't get past that. He can't move on to the Super Bowl. He can't even make it to the. He barely can make it to the NFC Championship game, let alone the Super Bowl, which is very frustrating. Um, we're getting off topic here with the San Francisco 49ers and Seattle Seahawks. But anyways, Seattle made it barely into the playoffs. They're ranked, what was it, seventh? I want to say overall. Hang on. I'll look at the standings here. Yes, seventh overall. So they're the worst of the worst, and the Niners are second place, which means that they're really high up there. And we're looking for a matchup here. San Francisco. If San Francisco is the favorite to win, and I'm going to pick them as my team to win. Now this might look different next Friday when we do chat again. We'll see what happens, but I believe that my opinion as long as things go well, yeah. Next week, yeah, we're doing chat next week, and that's right. I'm thinking my vacation is a week from now. I go on vacation, so we might do something different that week for streaming. At least for Star Wars: The Old Republic, we might do longer streams in the morning. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far ahead yet, but anyways, in a week from now, I'll be on vacation, which is gonna be sweet. Anyway, so we'll look back at coming up in a week now, see what happens if I picked right or if I picked wrong. I'm going to pick the San Francisco 49ers over the Seahawks. I'm not going to pick a score or anything. I'm just going to pick who wins and who loses. And that's at 3:30 Central Standard Time tomorrow. And it looks like it's going to be Fox Network, which makes sense because NFC is usually on Fox. Now, moving on to the next game tonight. The next game is going to be 7:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're looking at the LA Chargers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Jacksonville, also another team that barely made it in the playoffs. They won the AFC South barely. It was the last game of the season between the no, yeah, Texans, wasn't it? Darn it, can't remember. They won against the Titans, Tennessee Titans, excuse me. That was the plot place for last to win the NFC South. Now, as it stands right now, the Jaguars and Chargers are both fourth. Jaguars are fourth place and the Chargers 50th. So this is a closer matchup. However, not really. When you look at the overall the ranking overall, what they are. The last time the Jaguars and the Chargers played each other, Jacksonville beat them 38-10, but that was beginning of the year at 20 and September 25th, 2022. Well, let's see. Jacksonville finished the season 9-8, where the Chargers are 10-7. So this game is going to be a really tough toss-up game, like really challenging. We're not sure who's going to win this one, or at least I don't have a lot of faith in who's going to win this one. Um, if I have to make a pick, gun to my head, I'm going with the Chargers to upset the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, granted, it'd be great to see the Jaguars move on to the next round, but being as the team that they were last Sunday, it looked like they barely knew how to play that game. So we're going to go with the Chargers because I think the Chargers kind of have a shot this year to move up to the next round. And then let's take a quick break here for some water because I'm not used to talking this straight long for an hour. Oh, yeah. This would be great if I was co-hosting with somebody else, but low budget show, zero interest from the fans. I'm doing this anyway just for the hell of it. You can check this on YouTube a little bit later too. Anyways, so Sunday's game, January 15th, 2023. We have the Miami Dolphins playing against the Buffalo Bills. Now, this is going to be a tough one for Miami fans, but you're not going to make it past the first round. I know you guys wanted to get into the playoffs. It's been a while, and hell, even the fact that they made it in is great. The fact that the Patriots aren't in it all the time is even better. But the Bills are the dominant team now in the AFC East, and it's going to be that way for a long time because I think Josh Allen's going to stay there till whenever he. I think he's going to be their team quarterback forever, which is great for the Bills because they used to be a popular team back in the '90s. Growing up, they used to win the AFC. They won it 4 years in a row. They won in the early '90s. They won 4 times in a row the AFC Championship. Unfortunately, though, they lost the Super Bowl 4 times in a row, and that earned them the moniker. And Bills fans are going to hate me for saying it, but boy, I love losing Super Bowls. That's just it. They they just couldn't get it. They lost to the Washington Commanders. They lost to the Cowboys, and I can't remember who else they lost to, but they lost 4 times in a row. So it's kind of sad to say that, but they might make. I have them actually, and this is gonna come back to bite me in the butt later. But I'm gonna say this right now. I have the overall pick for who is going to be in the Super Bowl. In my opinion, right now, is the 49ers, and it's going to be the Bills. The Eagles don't stand a chance in heck to actually make it anywhere because they barely played anybody tough all season. The only tough team they probably played was Dallas. Everybody else was just a pushover. Now they're going to be in playoff mode and they're probably going to choke like they always do. Um, and in the AFC, Kansas City, I'm just tired of Kansas City. Really, the Chiefs, they're good and all, but they're starting to turn into the Patriots again. And it's like we don't really need another Patriots franchise again where every year it's Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl and every year the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl. It's like, can we just move on to the randomness? What was beneficial about the NFC winning different teams every year is it gave something hope for other teams in the NFC. Hey, they got somebody else could win the NFC this year versus in the AFC if you were drafted in the AFC, you got stuck there, you're going to realize real fast, unless you're playing for the Patriots, it's going to be a sucky season. Look how many times in the past 20 years when Tom Brady was on the Patriots side, you look at it and you go, geez, man, there's only like 3 other teams that won in the playoffs and won the Super Bowl that year, made it to the Super Bowl that year. It wasn't the Patriots. And now we're going to get the Kansas City Chiefs doing that all the time? No, I don't want that. I know Kansas City wants that because they want to feel like they're relevant again in football, but I'm like, I'm tired of the AFC producing one dynasty team and the NFC just struggling every year to come up with some kind of, team to beat all teams. It's not. I mean, that would make it boring, honestly. Oh boy, look at this. The Packers are playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. That's just going to ruin ratings. Where if you keep it random, like it was last year, the ratings kept going up because people are like, oh my God, there's 2 different teams in the Super Bowl for the first time in ever. Let's see how this plays out. This is going to be awesome. Ugh. But I'm hoping for the Bills and the Niners. The Niners I'm pulling for because I kind of want to see Mr. Relevant be like the guy like Brady was when he was ignored by everybody and turn around and led the team to a Super Bowl in this almost his rookie year, I want to say. And then you got the Bills trying real hard to make something out of it. They had last year's Super Bowl last year's NFL playoffs were the most intense and enjoyable playoffs I've ever seen in my life. Every game made my heart race because there were just really good close games. You can't replicate any of that at all. I don't think it's gonna be as intense as it was last year, but last year was just game after game, just oh my God, what am I watching? This is awesome. Excuse me, but yeah, you'll never see that again. At least not this year, anyways. You might elsewhere in the future, but as for now, last year was just mind-boggling, insanely awesome games, and led to probably one of the better Super Bowls I've seen in years, probably since 2008. 2008 was probably the last Super Bowl I saw was good. It was Patriots versus Giants. Uh, Patriots were undefeated that season, trying to beat the Giants, who in the regular season, the Giants were the last game of the year, lost by 3 points, and then turn around and won the Super Bowl by 3 points. And it was awesome. You know, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers were the halftime show. So it was probably the best Super Bowl I've ever seen in my life at that point. Oof, that takes me back 15 years ago now. Jeez Louise. Anyways, moving on back to the Dolphins Bills game. Now I'm gonna pick the Bills to win this one. I'd be surprised if the Dolphins can pull out a win, but uh Viola is not gonna be in. He's out with that concussion injury he got a few weeks ago. So I'm not gonna see he's probably not gonna be in the game, and they could use him a lot. The Dolphins could use a really good quarterback, and I think they have a good chance now. They just need to put the formula together and keep him healthy. But it's football. One bad hit can take you out of the game and out of the season too. So we're going with the Bills over the Dolphins. And the next game is at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Oh, the Bills Dolphins game was going to be on a CBS, and the Jaguars Chargers game is also going to be on NBC. So Seahawks and Niners at 3:30 on Fox, Chargers Jaguars at 7:15 on NBC, and Bills Dolphins at 12 p.m. on CBS. These are all Central Standard Times because that's where I broadcast from. Now, onward to the 3:30 game, the Vikings versus the Giants. Um, it's going to be on Fox, and this game is probably going to go in favor of the Vikings, but it's going to be a tough fought win. I think both teams are media core at best, but I don't think they're going to be either of them are going to make it far in the playoffs this year. I mean, the Vikings try their best during regular season, but I know Kirk Cousins from experience. He used to play on my team, and my team was the Washington Commanders, and we didn't make the playoffs because our coach is an idiot. Anyways, that's besides the point. Um, Kirk Cousins has a tendency to be a mixed bag, if you will, of what you might get. He could be good one gun game. He'd be throwing like the best passes ever, completions, have the highest QB rating. And the next game, he'll start throwing interceptions like he's giving them out like candy at Halloween. And it's just it's like weird. You know, he's not consistent. And I think that's why they got rid of him to begin with, is because he wasn't consistent. He's doing okay in Minnesota. I mean, they have winning seasons, but this is the first time that they've won the North in a while. Of course, the last time they won the North, the Eagles were in the North, and they destroyed everybody in the North, or I mean, in the NFC. So that's what happened last time. But I mean, the Vikings might come out with a win. I'm going to pick them to win this next game coming up on Sunday. Oh man, I said I'm not used to talking so much. At least my streams, I like to pause a little bit and let the dialogue sit in. But if you have anything you want to comment on, chat's right over there. So feel free to mention if you have anything you want to add, or if you want to see what I'm all about. Down below, there's links, and up here, there's your browser. All right. Next game we're looking at 7:15 p.m., which is probably going to be on NBC. Yep, is probably the more interesting game of tomorrow. I mean Sunday. We're looking at the Ravens versus the Bengals. Now, uh, standings wise, this is one to look at because they're third and sixth. The Bengals are third place and the Ravens are sixth place, because they're division rivalries. They're both in the NFC or AFC North, excuse me, and it looks like they both have been really played close games. And in the AFC overall, um, the Bengals had the better record of 12-4 versus the Ravens of 10-7. I think from what I gather is that their starting quarterback for the Ravens is out, and oh man, what's his name? I oh man, drawing a blank. I'm looking at the roster. I can't remember. Lamar Jackson. Jeez. Anyways, Lamar Jackson here is out um, for the game. He won't be playing, which is unfortunate for the Ravens because he's their star quarterback as well as their leading rusher practically. And it you know that guy carries a lot of weight on his shoulders to make it happen. But I feel like when he runs a lot, it feel like he's asking to get hurt a lot. And it might work in college, but after a while, people might wise up to your stuff and might put you down that way. I don't know how he injured his leg, but I always feel like when he runs, and if he runs into trouble, he's going to get nailed. But and that might be what's slowing him down in old age and so forth. I mean, well, when he's getting older, we can't really recover from injuries as quick. But we're obviously pulling for the Bengals in this one. I believe the Bengals will get the upset. Um, Not the upset, but they'll get the win. They'll shut down the Ravens because the Ravens won't be able to hack it without their star quarterback. He's an MVP of their team, Lamar Jackson. So we're gonna see that. This is basically we're going to give it to the Bengals and win this one. That's at 7:15 p.m. on NBC tomorrow, and yeah, we're gonna pick that one for the Bengals. And finally, on Monday Night Football, which is probably going to be on ESPN because it always is. Yep, and ABC now. Ooh, we can watch it on ABC. Probably because a lot of people have ESPN, but a lot of people have ABC because ABC is one of those networks that broadcasts to everybody. We got the Dallas Cowboys, which were the winners or second place in the NFC East versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who limped their way into the playoffs from a division, from probably the worst division in the NFC. Um, Not a single team finished above 500. The Buccaneers were 8-9. They could have won the last game of the season, but they screwed that up. So um, they're 8-9, but they still got Tom Brady, old man Brady. Old man Brady is hard to stop if he's having a good day. Which honestly, last year he should have retired. I don't know what possessed him to go for another game, but there we are. He thinks he can do it again. I don't. He'd have to pull something out of his arsenal to win another Super Bowl. I don't see that happening. I do see him beating the Cowboys. The Cowboys, but as a Commanders fan, the Cowboys always suck. Anytime they lose is a great day for America. So we're gonna go with obviously the Buccaneers winning this game tomorrow. Or I keep saying tomorrow. I mean Monday for Monday Night Football. The Buccaneers will destroy the Cowboys, just like Washington destroyed the Cowboys last weekend. It's just how it is, they're if I could get on a huge rant right now about how much I hate Dallas Cowboys and I hate Jerry Jones, who designs a stadium where the sun faces the field in the west? Why would you do that? Why would you put a giant window facing west where the sun can blind the players on the field? What kind of moron designs a field that way? Have it facing south or facing east or even facing north, or at least get some big blinds or something. But you're asking for trouble. I mean, it is great when the opponents are looking at it, but when your team gets on the field, there's a sun in their eyes. They can't see. So stupid. Oh God, rich people and their money, I tell you. So, quick review, one recap here of all the games for this week. The Saturday football game, 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I have the Niners over the Seahawks. 7:15 p.m. I have the Chargers over the Jacksonville Jaguars. On Sunday, January 15th at 12, I have the Buffalo Bills over the Miami Dolphins. At 3:30 p.m. Sunday, I have the Vikings taking the Giants down. And on 7:15 p.m. on Sunday, I have the Bengals beating the Ravens. And finally, on Monday Night Football at 7:15 p.m., I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking down the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see how these stand up next week. Um, we'll do another chat with football again, and we'll get into more details about that. But I just wanted to add that to my stream because I figured, hey, let's just do some random stuff. Let's do things that I normally don't talk about on the stream. On the stream, it's fine. Video games and football and Sith stuff and Star Wars stuff. Let's talk about random things. Let's start doing ASMR videos. Yeah, that's what people wanted to see me do, ASMR videos. Some fat 40-year-old man doing this to his microphone. Anyways. Oh, God, I love being me some days. So, now, for the last half hour of our show, we'll be talking about The Phantom Menace. Now, Star Wars The Phantom Menace was one of the first Star Wars movies I actually saw in theaters back in the 90s. That wasn't a re-release, obviously. I was too young to see. I wasn't even born when A New Hope came out. I was practically an infant when Empire Strikes Back came out, and I was I don't even think I was in preschool when Return of the Jedi came out. But I do remember watching those movies when I was growing up, and you know, but this is the first movie in theaters that we saw growing up in '99, and George Lucas did this film. Um, it's a good movie, and I don't know why I'm just dragging right now. I'm trying to find the exact release date. All I see is '99 here. That's not going to help. We have to open a web browser. This is where the fun begins. Um, Looks like it was May 19th, 1999. I remember watching this during the summertime of '99, and it was probably the coolest thing ever on film. But a lot of it was kind of different back then because it was mostly it was a CGI hurting back then, and obviously a lot of hate came to Jar Jar Binks, which Ahmad Best played, and he received a lot of flack for it, which is really disappointing, as well as Jake Lloyd, which I see gets credit for being Darth Vader, not Anakin Skywalker. Um, and you know, back in the day watching this movie in theaters. It's like CGI sucks. Oh, but this is 1999. CGI this day has now gotten way better with deep fakes and all this other stuff. And you look at this back then and you go, this stuff is terrible. But they redid tooled it up a little bit. If you watch it on Disney Plus right now, it looks a lot different. It looks a little bit better, a little bit more real. But growing up in the '90s, you see this stuff and like, ugh, this isn't this is what I remember Star Wars was about. It was more about, practical effects, industrial light and magic, making AT-ATs walk across the snow of Hoth and whatever, taking months to shoot. But then you got the music and Darth Maul, and that's what kind of helped the movie out. Really, is John Williams directing a hell of a movie musical score for the movie, and you know, growing up looking at Natalie Portman, who, if you remember, she was in the Professional as a really young kid. She's only a year older than me. Still hot. Natalie Portman's still hot. I don't care what anybody says. Um, you know, you kind of like a woman like her in that, you know, just nice looking lady growing up in the '90s, and like, oh yeah, she's all right. I think she's a lot smarter than people let her on to be, or when she was in the movie, anyways. I mean, obviously using the whole I'm playing as my handmaid, my queen is just a decoy kind of vibe was kind of cool, but you know, um, she was definitely a looker for a young boy like me at that age, um, and her acting is kind of wooden in pretty much all three movies, but I think that's what people confuse Wooden acting for basically trying to be a royal. And I probably mentioned this at another stream about how her behavior is like, because she has to pretend to be she has to be um, queen or whatever, senator. She has to look professional. She has to act professionally. She can't be, all this emotional crap. She has to be, in public. She has to be stiff and rigid. Whereas when she's talking to Anakin in private, back on Naboo, when they're, doing the whole dang scene in Attack of the Clones, whatever, she's more human because, well, she's not being on the floor anymore. She's not in public eye. She's behind closed doors. She can be whatever she wants. You know, she can play around with Anakin's lightsaber all if she wants. I don't care, but you know, that it's really really hard back then to really understand where Lucas was coming from. I think that's what a lot of the people missed the point of the Jedi, because they didn't understand that the only Jedi they had interaction with three of them in the original movies: Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Yoda. And I guess you could say Anakin Skywalker if you really want to, get to splitting hairs. But they were not, uh, like that in the movies. They were more human because they weren't, the order was gone. They were just human beings doing things with lightsabers, or Yoda's whatever he's supposed to be, Yoda or whatever. But Yoda Kai, I don't know. But you know, you have all, you don't know what they were. There wasn't any knowledge or lore. The books didn't really, describe them. The video games back then, play the. I don't know if there was much video games pre um, the Phantom Menace that explored the old Jedi. The only thing I mean, even Knights of the Republic was a little bit more post Phantom Menace Jedi, where they're a little bit more, repressed and a little bit more stoic than they are now. So people didn't. I guess that's what kind of threw people off. So they didn't understand that this order of, I guess, I wouldn't call them religious zealots, but cult or whatever, um, were like that. There was no record indicating of that for people to look at. There weren't any books, there weren't any discussions, there's not much of that. When it finally came out on video on the big screen, we were like, oh man, all these people are just very wooden and everything. Well, that's the way they're supposed to be. And, you know, excuse me, this movie also introduced us to, or at least introduced me to Ian McGregor, who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi throughout the whole trilogy, and reprised his role in the Obi-Wan show. And he really does sell the character, because obviously you can't get Alex Guinness is long gone from this world. And he didn't really care for Star Wars. If you're not familiar with that, Guinness hated Star Wars. Couldn't talk to him when he was alive about it. He would refuse to do anything with it. He felt that was like a low point in his career, which is sad to say. And actually, if you really want to know what's really bizarre, if you go to the original New Hope actors in there, and you look up what's his name, the late Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing's characters are always interesting. You watch him in he was a non-canonical Doctor Who character, and it's weird to hear him in this whimsical voice, um, and his acting was just different. You know, when he played the Grand Moff, he was basically stern and imperial. But you watch all these older movies where he's playing goofy, whimsical characters, like that's the same actor. It's so bizarre. What were we talking about? Phantom Menace? uh, but anyways, um, I don't know if they really got into, if I don't know what Peter Cushing thought about Star Wars. I guess I never really looked into it, but it was only one role. But his character legacy lives on in Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the Bad Batch, obviously Rogue One, and other media. So he's even got his own book. Tarkin has his own book. I haven't read it yet, but it's out there for you to read based on a character that only appeared in one movie. So and not long in that movie, really. Well, he was whole through the whole movie, but it wasn't like a lot of scenes or anything like that. Especially when you find out that he was wearing slippers during shots where he was being only shot above the waist because the boots that they wore at the time sucked. So, uh, and also, you got Liam Neeson in it, which, Liam Neeson's acting career is just all action movies now, which is fine. He's got that nice voice, and he reprised his role for Obi-Wan for that brief moment at the end. For a spoiler alert for a show that's been out for less than a year now, he's in that one. And, he also lent his voice into pretty much the Clone Wars TV show too. Uh, the end of season 6, I believe. I think it was season 6. Anyways, he's in that too. And he still does the Star Wars stuff. I believe he was also in the Rise of Skywalker as one of the voices that tells Rey that everything's gonna be okay or whatever. Keep on keeping on or keep on trucking. Now it's got Ian McDiarmid who reprises his role as Palpatine, which is sweet. He played Palpatine before he became the Emperor Palpatine. As a man manipulating the Clone Wars and the separatist movement while also leading the Senate against it. I can't wait to see Acolyte just to kind of see how the ball got rolling and how the Sith got into the Republic. But as a person playing both sides of a war and still getting the result he wants, it's great. It's a master plan to get both sides of a war. You playing both sides in a war, going, yes, do this, yes, do that, and then getting it the way you wanted it to happen. Where we destroyed the separatist movement because we got clones now that have chips in their brains that just shoot the Jedi. It was pretty good. It's probably the moment in Star Wars lore where things just you know uh, where everything kind of branches off is a key pivotal moment in Star Wars. You look at Andor, that's post Order 66, or the Clone Wars itself. That's before Order 66 and well as after Order 66, and the Bad Batch was after Order 66. But a lot of the interesting things happen in that time period. Which Jedi survived and which ones died, and the Obi-Wan show takes a little bit of information from that, as well as Jedi Fallen Order. They talk about that a little bit in the game. You do a flashback scene where you're, Cal Kestis and you're going through the Jedi Temple as it's being destroyed all around you, and you watch your master get murdered in front of your eyes. Very horrifying, but it was kind of be expected, because it leads up to that scene. You want to go, oh my god, how this happened? Yada yada. It just seems rather odd though that this woman, what's it, seventh sister? Reva? Reva survives being stabbed twice in the chest, where other people have died. But I honestly don't think Anakin would have left them alive. But I would have bought it more if she snuck out and hid and saw him kill everybody, and then was just traumatized it rather than he stabbed her in the stomach and she fake died. Um, I would have believed it better if she just saw the whole thing and just was traumatized from all that, rather than just, oh yeah, she survived a stab in the chest twice. I don't know. Is she still around? Bernia August? Yeah, she's still alive. Okay. She played uh Anakin's mom, um Pernilla August, which I honestly don't know if I've ever seen her in anything else besides. Really, she was in the Clone Wars. Oh, wow. As what? That's interesting. I didn't know she was in the Clone Wars. Who'd she play? Herself? I gotta see this one. Or she just do a random voiceover work, or was this a guest appearance or something? You always gotta find out stuff. You learn new stuff every day. Da, 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 hmm. I'm looking. I'm looking. Da, 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 da. I know Ahmad Best reprised his role as Jar Jar Binks, which I thought was amazing in that movie or TV show. Wow, Jeff Fisher was in that show too. Gosh darn it. They had a lot of people on the show. Jeff Fisher plays Jeff Fisher on American Dad. It's a show I like to watch on occasion. It says she's on here. I don't see her. There's a lot of cast members. They've had like people show up for 2 episodes at most and disappear. You just like a voice or something? Bobby Moynihan, huh? That's crazy. Did I miss it? Mark Hamill was Darth Bane. Oh, that. Oh, yes, he should have played Shimmy in one episode. Okay. All right. Well, more power to me. I guess you learn something new every day. Pernilla August played herself in one episode. I don't remember that episode of Clone Wars. Ah, man. Yep, and then Anthony Daniels reprising his role as C-3PO, and the late Kenny Baker playing R2D2, and Frank Oz as Yoda, and Ray Park. Everybody loves Ray Park. This would kind of put Ray Park in the public spotlight for me, anyways, as a master sword wielder, I guess. He is a well-renowned sword fighter. Uh, Most of the scenes he does, he practices a lot with that, and I've seen some of the videos he's done online, and yeah, I don't think I could last in a sword fight against him. He probably would cut me down before I even had a chance to, defend one block. Really, he's that good. For a guy who does dramatic sword fighting, or not, or stage sword fighting, he really puts a different spin on it. And watching the whole fight scene with, him and Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi was intense. Just the whole Duel of the Fates song playing in the background and watching it while cutting away to Anakin Skywalker blowing up you know, the um uh, the droid base, and watching it all fall down and everything. It was intense, and obviously Qui-Gon Jinn getting killed, and there's a lot of stories behind that, and that was a key pivotal moment in Star Wars. Um, at least according to Dave Filoni, um, Anakin was looking for a father figure in somebody, anybody. He couldn't, obviously, as being a former slave, all he had was Watto and, his mom. And that's it. There was no father figure in his life. I don't know. I don't know. They really don't explain that too much, really. I mean, as a human being on a planet where there was people, you'd think that she would have maybe wanted to be in a relationship, or maybe it just not happening. I don't know. Maybe because she's a slave, she couldn't. I don't know the ordeal behind that. But anyways, um, it it is what the heck are we talking about? Oh no, I lost my train of thought. Oh, train derailed at the station. Um, Anyways, so oh yeah, that's right. So Liam Neeson's character was going to be the father figure for Anakin Skywalker and raise Anakin like his own son. Where Obi-Wan was just kind of like there going, all right, well, if you want me to become a knight of the Jedi Knight, then be my guest, I guess. But the council tells you no, we're still doing it anyways. And when Qui-Gon died, uh, the chance for Anakin to have a healthy father figure in his life also died. And so, because Obi-Wan was just like, I'm stuck with this kid now. That's it. He's just stuck with this little kid. He has nothing. He has no idea what he wants to do. He's a supposed chosen one, which they don't know about, but he doesn't care. Doesn't care for this kid. And if you read the book Master and Apprentice, which is the book that takes place before Phantom Menace, um, I'm not sure if they're calling it canon or not. Some of the Disney books are not even being considered in the TV shows. But anyways, it talks about how Qui-Gon gets into these whole uh, prophecies and starts looking into them, and so did Count Dooku. They both looked at him, took him almost very seriously, like they were supposed to happen. And this whole event that is in the book is based on the prophecy, and that's why he's very into prophecies. And when he finds Anakin Skywalker and calls him the chosen one, um, he that's why he picks him up, because his midi chlorian count was through the roof, the highest he's ever seen. So he obviously has a strong connection to the Force. He might have been the child of the Force, the one to bring balance to the Force, as the prophecies foretold. Now, my opinion on balance in the Force, it wasn't to me uh, light versus dark. It was basically a numbers game. Really, there was too much light in the galaxy. The Force wanted more darkness, so it basically killed all the Jedi. That's what I think bringing balance to the Force was. Now people disagree with that. It's like, no, no, no. The Force is both light and dark. We want to be equal light and dark, and then they work together and just gray. Which, if you're playing Knights of the Old Republic, and you get into the Knights of Zakul, the Knights of Zakul are ones that are a complete balance to the Force. They are not light or dark. They're basically balance in the Force, which Qui-Gon Jinn was all about balance in Star Wars. He's considered a sort of a gray Jedi that follows the will of the Force, not the light or dark. Whatever the Force decrees in his own mind or perceives, he goes and executes that. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, he'll do it. And that's what balance is in the Force. Now, the um, the whole point was that Anakin now is without a father again and stuck with Obi-Wan, who's like an older brother who resents his existence. And that's the relationship that Anakin and Obi-Wan have. Just an older brother who doesn't want Anakin to do anything or have any fun. Just, be nice, follow the rules, etc. And I don't really care for you. I know at the end he's like, oh, you were like a brother to me. And that's basically it. He was a brother to him. It wasn't the son to him. He said straight up, "You're like a brother to me," and that's what happened. He wasn't really a father figure. Anakin needed a father figure, and Anakin needed a lot of help. He didn't know how to deal with it, and it ultimately ended up him just falling to the dark side because people just when you're telling somebody they're destined for great things and you basically just treat them like trash, he's going to turn out to be, well, a garbage person. He's going to turn evil. Things are going to tempt him. He wanted power, a lot of it. And that's what the dark side did, is it tempted him with power. You want to save your wife Padme? Here's some power. You want to be, on the leader of the council? Try to get some power there. Anakin was always about trying to get power, more power, because he wanted to live up to the expectations that he was the chosen one, and he had the power to do everything he wanted to bring order and justice to the galaxy. And that's what the dark side did, is basically open the door for Anakin Skywalker to come in and say, yeah, we'll do it. We'll help you. We'll just get rid of these obstacles in your way. We'll take shortcuts here. And ultimately, it ended up in obviously him turning into a cyborg, as well as becoming weaker in the Force. It was stated that before the battle on Mustafar, that if Anakin had defeated Obi-Wan and didn't lose his limbs, he probably could have destroyed the Emperor at some point. But he would probably have been the most deadliest thing in the Force, stronger than he could have been. It was unfortunate for him, but fortunate for the Emperor. So the Emperor confined him to the Darth Vader suit to be weak. It's a garbage suit. If you ever read the story behind, why it's the way it is, it's crazy. It basically keeps him awake. He can't sleep. There's a lot of noises. His reaction time is slower. He's lost a lot of connection to the Force. He's basically confined to it because he can't breathe without the breathing apparatus. His voice is robotic and distorted, obviously, James L. Jones. But, it was punishment for his failure. For the rest of his life, he was stuck in this prison to suffer, to release his anger into the dark side. It wasn't it looks, don't get me wrong, as far as suits go, as a prop and a movie costume, that thing is amazing. But in the reality behind it, the story behind it, It sucks. It is a terrible, terrible thing to be in there. It is not fun at all. Um, but going back to everything in the Phantom Menace, I mean, you got one of the greatest fight scenes of all time, and obviously this is pod racing, which launched one of the most bizarre Nintendo 64 games I've ever played, and I wouldn't recommend playing it drunk as N64 Star Wars Pod Racer. It is all over the place. I mean, I don't even know what happened half the time. This is about um, 10 years ago. I used to hang out with somebody and we used to drink and play this game, and it would never ended. I don't even remember anything. I remember the colors and the lights, but I don't remember if I won anything or lost anything or what. It was just all over the place. I don't even know if they can get that today. I think you can get it on Steam, actually. You probably still get a copy of the game on Steam and do the pod racing thing. But they don't mention it too much in this show after Star Wars. Oh, let's go down to the pod racing track. They did bring back the fighter from a Phantom Menace for the Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett season 1. The yeah, I think it was Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, that whole episode dedicated to the Mandalorian, him getting his own spaceship back, and it's one of the Naboo starfighters. But in my opinion, the movie is a really good movie for Star Wars lore. You just gotta take it with a grain of salt with all the acting and everything, and gotta be more into the lore and try to figure out what Lucas was going for. Never mind the acting, don't mind the politics. Just watch the movie as is a Star Wars movie, and in that more like Andor, and where there's a lot of behind the scenes, political stuff going on where Palpatine's manipulating people. And obviously, the Duel of the Fates is probably one of the best fight scenes you've seen in Star Wars. But it showed that Star Wars can do more things than what it did back in the 70s and 80s. In terms of production and value and set designing and storytelling. It did rub fans the wrong way 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago, but it aged still aged well, and in fact, it still seems to fit like in the movie. And we'll say the same about that with the sequel trilogy. We're going to be reviewing all 9 movies, 10 movies, 11 movies, 12 movies, whatever. We'll be reviewing everything in the next few weeks for the chats. Um, next week we'll try to talk about the Attack of Clones, which is a movie I haven't seen forever. When I'm gonna have to try to watch it again before I do the review because I've only seen it maybe twice. I've seen Revenge of the Sith multiple times, The Phantom Menace multiple times, but Attack of Clones maybe twice. So I vaguely remember some things happening in that movie. I mean, I may remember, you know, Geonosis and Jango Fett and, you know, some things and some of the memes you see online. I see clips of the show, but it's been forever. And, I really didn't care for Obi-Wan's hair in that movie. Let's put it that way. It looked like it was always greased backed and looked weird. I'm like, okay, I guess that's what you're going for. But there was other things that happened in that movie too. Anakin getting married to Queen Amidala and having a relationship and getting her knocked up, etc. But you know, it's been a while since I've seen the movie, so we'll review that next time. And like I said, right now, go see the Phantom Menace again in a different perspective. Just try to remember this is what George had in mind for a long time. Hey, what's up? How's it going? You're just turning in at the end of my chat, bro. I'm about ready to end this thing. Oh, that's good. Sorry, man. Next time, maybe. Thanks for stopping by, though. All right, everybody, all you Sith Lords, Darth, and Acolytes, if you like the stream, follow me on social media, like and subscribe. Yeah, sure, go ahead, just put it on there, and I'll check it out after the stream. How about that? We'll see what's going on there. But anyways, thanks if you right now. I mean, if you send the link, I can check it, but I'm about ready to wrap this stream up, really. Is there a link? We'll see what the. Sure. See what this says. Error in workflow. Sorry that didn't work for some reason. No, I don't know. That didn't work. Was that like a bad link or something? I bet you there's some kind of bad link. No, that didn't work. I said link throw error. So I get error and workflow. That's all I get. I'm not sure. Might be a bad link. Yeah, sorry, that didn't work. Anyways, maybe some other time. How about that? Still there? Anyways. All right. If you liked any of the social stuff on here, follow me on social media at Sith Lord Plays This. Like and subscribe to my channels. Look at my YouTube channel. We'll be okay. Try it again. Send me a link one more time, man. I gotta wrap this up here. Uh, nope. Sorry, man. It's not working. Nothing's happening. Not sure why. Anyways, maybe some other time. Thanks all for watching. Tune in Monday for more streaming of Borderlands 2. We'll finish it up and move on to Star Wars The Old Republic. Until then, may the Force serve you well.